Do they know the? I need to tell them the process of what we're doing.
Oh, okay, fine.
When I gave the word, now in the morning I sleep alone. Sweep the streets I used to own.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I used to roll the dice, feel the fear in my enemy's eyes. Listen as the crowd would sing. Now the old king is dead, long live the king. One minute I held the key, next the walls were closed on me, and I discovered that my castle stand upon pillars of sand, pillars of sand.
all right, ladies and gentlemen, all of you students that are here for a very special afternoon, it's time to welcome the StarCast. I think we're in the midst of absolute cricket glory. We're in the midst of absolute superstardom. 6 icons of the game with over 85,000 runs. We're just going to be sitting here in the middle of this fantastic arena. And it's only right that we give them a grand welcome. I want all of your loudest voices for each and every one of them. From Team Australia, give it up for Shane Watson. I didn't want to. Just say one. From Team Sri Lanka, the man with the acumen, the gloves, and all of it put together, it is Kumar Sangakkara.
Alone, sweep the streets I used to own.
You know the name, you've watched him lead his side, you've watched him revolutionize the white ball game for Team England. Please welcome Captain Morgan.
I used to roll the dice, feel the fear in my enemy's eyes.
Now there's one man that went around without needing to bowl a ball that put fear in the minds of batters around the world. He's still just as fit. He still might put a bit of fear into a lot of minds when they take to the field in the IML. Please welcome Jonty Rhodes.
I used to roll the dice, feel the fear in my enemy's eyes. Listen.
Up next, the charisma, the flair, that Caribbean touch that we all loved watching. An absolute icon, someone that's enjoyed so many battles in every format with the Indian side as well. Much loved in our part of the world, Brian Charles Lara.
Pillars of sand. I hear Jerusalem bells ringing, Roman cavalry choirs are singing.
And finally, we've heard the name reverberate, so maybe we'll get that going again. You know the name? The one and only Sachin Tendulkar.
दुनिया से जाके बोल दो ऐसे जागो रे साथियों दुनिया की आंखें खोल दो
And I think before we get going, I know there's been some fantastic questions. Firstly, well done, what a turnout. I mean, really, really special to see everyone here. Incredible, absolutely incredibly special turnout. I think we're all wondering which way to turn, really. But before we get moving, we do have a wonderful gentleman that has put all of this together, without whom we would not be sitting here. And I think it's only right that we welcome him to felicitate our wonderful icons of the sport as well. May I please welcome forward Dr. Vijay D. Patil, sir, the Chancellor, D.Y. Patil University, President of the D.Y. Patil Sports Academy. He's a shining beacon in the field of education and healthcare in young India, a visionary leader as well. but he's also held the position of Vice President and President of the Mumbai Cricket Association. And sir, thank you so much for having all of us here. Thank you so much for hosting a wonderful day like this. And of course, we'd love for you to come forward and felicitate our wonderful guests as well.
I used to roll the dice, feel the fear in my enemy.
Come forward and they've got bouquets.
Listen as the crowd would sing. Now the old king is dead, long live the king. One minute I held the key. Next the walls were closed on me, and I discovered that my castle stand upon pillars of sand, pillars of sand. I hear Jerusalem bells are ringing, Roman cavalry choirs are singing. Mirror, mirror, my sword and shield, my missionaries in a foreign field. For some reason I can't explain, once you go, there was never, never an honest word. That was when I ruled the world. It was the wicked and wild wind, blew down the doors to let me in, shattered windows and the sound of drums. People couldn't believe what I'd become. Revolutionaries wait for the silver blade, just a puppet on a lonely string.
Gentlemen, I think everyone here would like to see what you're vying for. So before we get to their questions, we'd love for you to do the honors again to unveil the glittering trophy of the International Masters League. Please, we'll be delicate given how amazing that piece of silverware is. But the moment you've all been waiting for, the unveiling of the trophy for 2025 at the IML.
Sweep the streets I used to It's time for us. You're all alone. And what if I just
Thank you,
got
thanks,
you?
gentlemen. Thanks, thanks. All right, I think safe to say we've started with a bang. We've got the trophy unveiled as well. But guys, we've got some lovely questions that have been sent over from some fabulous students from various departments of this fantastic facility as well. And I'm going to just call out your names, and if you could stand up and give us a wave so we know where the question's coming from, that would be great as well. If you can't hear your name, I'll try and shout it even louder. But the first question, actually, Sachin Paji, is for you. It comes from VPSM, the Vijay Patil School of Management, and the student's name is Kushal Sawant. Kushal, if you could stand up somewhere for us. Kushal, thank you. Lovely. Kushal Sawant, Sachin Paji, the question is, you hold numerous records in cricket, but is there one particular milestone that's closest to your heart?
First of all, good evening, everyone. It is a fabulous place to be here. Dr. Patil has been saying a lot of things about this place and the vibe, the atmosphere that you create. I thought whatever you said, I would possibly multiply that 10 times, and that is what we feel here. So thank you so very much for this warm reception. Roshal, to answer your question, records take place when you are trying to achieve your team's goal, the team's target. And right from the day I started playing cricket, there was one target, which was to lift the World Cup trophy. And for me, that was the greatest day of my life on the field. There cannot be anything that can better that feeling, because the whole journey in 1983, when I saw India lifting the World Cup, I wanted to do that one day. And 2011, the best part was I never lost hope. I kept chasing my dream. And that's why I always say, chase your dreams, because the dreams do come true. So it has to be the World Cup.
Wonderful, thank you. Brian, we've got a lovely question for you coming in from Janvi Chandrasekhar from SSENS, the School of Sports and Excellent Science. Janvi, lovely. She's back there, Brian. Hi, Janvi. The question is, Brian, you've played so many great innings under pressure. What advice would you give young aspiring cricketers on playing long innings under pressure? Lovely question.
Thank you for the question. Good evening, everyone. You know, the sort of advice you'd want to give in terms of, you know, batting and creating long innings, I think for me it was team situation. When I went out to bat, I analyzed the team situation. I understood what I needed to do. When you're playing test cricket, you know, most of the times your captain is going to bat for 4 or 5 sessions. So I set my mind not on individual goals or milestones, not on a 50, not on 100 or 150. I sort of knew that if the team is going to bat for a period of time, I wanted to be out there doing that.
Yeah.
And for me, it's assessing situations quickly. Also assessing where dangers are.
Right.
You know, sometimes you may be batting and you're batting well against 3 or 4 bowlers, but there's this one bowler that can give you trouble.
Yeah.
You sort of have to throttle back and know how to see through that period. Understanding pressure situation as well is very, very important. So my advice for long innings is you need to understand your team position, and you need to understand the path that you have to play in ensuring that the team benefits from your performance.
Lovely. Thanks, Janvi, and hope that answers the question as well. Jonty, going to come across to you. We've got a question coming your way from the School of Dentistry. Yash Patwardhan. Yash? Oh, lovely. Hi, Yash. The question for you, Jonty, is you revolutionized the art of fielding. Did you have any role models, and how did you train to be as good as you were?
Yash, whoa. Hi, Yash. Cool. Interestingly enough, because I grew up in apartheid era South Africa, there was no international sport as a kid. Even at school, I went to university because there was no career. So from a fielding point of view, there wasn't even a fielding coach. So the fielding that I loved was because when you're batting, unless you were some of these great batters, I was very stressed about only having one opportunity, just a chance, and then you're out. So I could spend, like Brian Lara spoke about batting for 4 sessions. I loved fielding for 4 sessions in a test match. I mean, I really was passionate about my fielding. So I think the amazing thing is that if you do follow your dreams, Sachin spoke about following your dreams. For me, it was about being able to play to my strengths and work in areas of my passion. That's where I really excelled. But to be really honest, and don't tell anybody else, in a generation where I was seen as the #1 fielder in the world, there was no #2 and #3, so it was quite easy. It was really quite easy to be the best fielder in the world. But yeah, play in areas of your strength, and that, I think we all focus so much on our weaknesses and the negative sides of things, and yes, you have to get your weaknesses up to a certain level, but if you can spend more time in your area of strength and passion, then your growth is always exponential. Brilliant. Just love what you do, basically.
Thanks for that, Jonty. Sangha, we've got a pretty apt question, given that it comes from the School of Law. So, Satya Agarwal, where are you, Satya? There we go. Satya, thank you. Satya says, Sangha, who is your biggest inspiration in cricket and why?
Good evening, and Satya, thank you for the question. First of all, congratulations, Dr. Patil. I think talk about inspiration. I think it's places like this, campuses like this, where the future of the world is built through learning, exchange of ideas, debate, free thinking, and then, of course, innovation and excellence. So congratulations, it's a wonderful place to be in. I think to get to the question of inspiration in cricket,
Yeah.
was it? It's a funny thing because when I grew up, cricket wasn't my favorite sport. It was tennis. And then when I kind of started playing cricket, I used to idolize a lot of the West Indians. So Vivian Richards was one.
Yeah.
Then Mr. Brian Lara came around. And then when I looked to my neighbor, there was no mistaking Sachin Tendulkar, who I grew up watching. And the one thing they had in common was they could inspire people not just to play the game,
Yeah.
but not just to score runs or take wickets or win,
Yeah.
but to chase dreams and then show you what that means when it becomes a reality. And I watched people like Sachin, who have carried 1 billion hopes and dreams on their shoulders for 25 years, time after time, through all ups and downs, and do it to a level that was incredible. So I had inspiration when I was young,
Yeah.
inspiration when I started playing from other cricketers like the gentleman here, and also from the 1996 Sri Lankan side, players like Murali, Aravinda, Arjuna, Vas,
Yeah.
Ramesh Kalvitarna, who'll be here joining us. So I had different people who inspired me throughout the career, and some of them were my peers and contemporaries. So I found it everywhere, and I was very lucky to have played in an era as well that had greats like this that I could learn from.
And you've gone on to inspire so many as well, Sagar. Thank you. Thanks for that. Moggs, we've got a question coming your way from the School of Creative Studies, Parnavi Bharade. Yep, thanks, Parnavi. Moggs, the question for you is, you started your career playing for Ireland. What was the challenge you faced transitioning then to the English team? Fantastic question.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Good question. I suppose that the challenge for me was more viewed as an opportunity. I grew up in a small town outside of Dublin where cricket was probably not even in the top 10 sports that were played.
Yeah.
But I was very lucky. My dad was absolutely fanatical about cricket. And he pretty much brainwashed all his kids into playing cricket. And I'm very thankful for that. So my 2 sisters played cricket for Ireland. My 3 brothers all played representative cricket. And the challenge of moving across England was an opportunity for me, because that was absolute dreamland in comparison to where I grew up. So when I was 14 and 15, the opportunity came to go to London, to go to Lords, to go on trial to play for Middlesex. And I was very lucky enough to do okay, and I ended up moving across full-time when I was 16. And I've lived there ever since, and I'm very lucky to call London my home and to have lived my childhood dream. So the challenge for me was just a complete opportunity and a free hit, and one that came about through hard work and dedication.
Lovely, thanks for that, Moggs. And what a career it's been ever since as captain of England as well. Wado, just coming to you from Arya Roth from the School of Pharmacy. Arya, yep. Thank you. Arya says, you've been a part of a remarkable cricket dynasty, of course, with Australia. What, according to you, is the reason why the Australian team has been so dominant in cricketing history? And I guess talking about big tournaments in particular as well.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. It's a great question. For me, as a young person, as a 20-year-old coming into the Australian team, I think because of the foundations that were set in stone really from the days of Alan Border and Bob Simpson, who was the coach in the mid to late 80s, that really did set the foundations of the success over the next sort of 30 years or so. And a huge part of it is just the confidence that comes with knowing that your team can win. And when I came into the Australian team as a 20-year-old in 2002, it was just a given that the players knew how to win. They knew how to be able to perform their best in the biggest games, in the most crucial times, are the right ways to be able to bring the best that you possibly can with your skill in any situation. And that's just what I was very fortunate enough to be educated on, that the belief in yourself that we've got what we need to be able to win these big tournaments and play at our very best. So once you have that deep down belief, not just that that fabricated belief that, oh no, we can win or we could win, it's just the belief that we are going to win if we play at our very, very best. And with the calibre of skill that was in that Australian team and continues to be, they just know how to find a way. And we saw that even in the most recent one-day World Cup, with India playing so incredibly well and dominating that World Cup, but knowing that they come to the final against Australia, and even though Australia had been a little bit off colour, they just found a way when the pressure situations came on, how to really lock into the best version of themselves. And that's just a belief that we know what we need to do to be able to really zero in on what we need to do and the best version of us. So I feel very fortunate to have come through in Australian cricket, and that's a reason why. It's just, you just get educated on what you need to do to beat your best.
Yeah, that mentality, I think, easier said than done. Congrats, Wado, on everything that came with it as well. And great question as well coming your way. Sachin Paji, the next one. Next one, back to you. And, you know, Sangha touched upon this, I think, a little bit. So great question from Rajvardhan Hate. Rajvardhan from the School of Occupational Therapy. Rajvardhan, if we can find you. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Lovely. Yeah, just shout out. Easier for us. Sachin Paji, you carried the hopes of 1 billion people every time you walk to the crease. We've spoken about that. We know that. But how did you handle that immense pressure?
Rajvardhan, thank you very much for this question, because, you know, this is something that we discussed during 2011 World Cup. No home team had won the World Cup till then. So obviously the expectations were very, very high. And the question in our team meeting was, this was pre-World Cup when we had a camp, how do we deal with expectations? And the thought was, it is all about the direction of pressure. Whether 1 point, at that time, 3-4 billion people, 1.3 or 1.4 billion people, that time.
Yeah.
Do you feel the pressure on your shoulder? Are they sitting on top of your shoulder? Or are they with you, propelling you forwards? So we felt that, you know, just to have that switch in your head, that the 1.4 billion people are with us moving forward. And that's when we felt that for anyone to stop that force is going to be a challenge. See, I always like to be under pressure because that kept me on my toes. That made sure that I was preparing to the best of my ability. Imagine if I was walking out to bat and no one expecting anything out of me. I am possibly at a wrong place. I need to think of doing something else in life. So I enjoyed that. Pressure is only because of your past performances, and that is how people start expecting more and more from you, because they've experienced something good from you. So it is all about giving positive reinforcement, telling yourself that this is where you want it to be, and there are going to be tough situations, there are going to be easy times on the field, but if you don't do the full circle, then the journey is not complete according to me. So failures, one need not worry about failures. Everyone fails in life, but very few go on to become champions. So I would suggest just go out and accept all the challenges, embrace them. Don't shy away from challenges.
Thanks for that, and thank you for the question as well. Brian, coming back to you, Tejas Shetty from the School of Architecture. Lovely. Hi, Tejas. So Tejas, his question here is, how do you see the future of West Indies cricket in the modern era of T20 leagues?
West Indies cricket, present day time, in terms of, you know, playing cricket as a team, it's very difficult for us because the game has become so technical now. Natural ability still plays a part in it, but I still believe that you got to be technically strong. Yeah. You got to have the infrastructure in there, not just the practical side, but as I said, the technical side as well. I think we struggle as a nation to get these things sorted, so our cricketers could be better, they could be fitter. They can think about the game more on the mental side as well. So I believe that if you look at the performances of the West Indies team during the early T20 World Cups, we won a couple of those, and at that point in time, T20 was really a skill game.
Yeah.
You had the skill, you had the ability to go out there and bang it. You get to finals and you win a finals. I think now you see where Test cricket is. Test cricket is not just 5 days in the hot sun. You got to be mentally strong. You got to have that attrition level. Teams are working you out. So we are struggling in the Test arena, but now in the T20 version of the game, I believe that we need to start thinking a little bit more about that mental side and the technical side of the game. West Indies cricket may struggle for a while. We've got 5 million people living in different islands, under different governments. The only thing that unites us is cricket. And that brings about some sort of segregation sometimes. Yeah. But I'm hoping that we can be better in the future. I still believe today that the West Indies produce some of the most talented cricketers in the world.
Absolutely.
We just need to take it to another level.
Absolutely. Thanks. And thank you, Tejas, for that question as well. Mogs, just coming back to you from Yashovardhan Tripathi from the School of Nursing. Yashovardhan. Hi. Mogs, for you, growing up, who was your cricketing idol, and did you get a chance to play with him?
Yeah, good question, and very, very pertinent, seeing as we're sitting right here and now. 2 down to my right, and I don't mind, as I told him already, I used to have a poster of Brian Lara on my bedroom wall. And I don't mind embarrassing him because he's used to it at this stage. But for a guy who's one of the greatest that has ever played the game, the flair, the skill, the temperament, over many, many years, has had such a fine imprint on people's lives that will remain way past his life and career and various sort of things. So I would just like to say thank you to Brian and Sachin as well.
And now you get to play with a cricketing idol of yours. So the IML has brought you together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks for that question as well. John T, coming across to you, a tricky one. We'll see how you go with this. But Miss Visman Kaur, thank you, Visman. Lovely. Hi, Visman. From the School of Ayurveda. John T, this one's for you. Who are the top 5 fielders of the modern era in your thought, and why? Even if you would do, if you do all 5, great.
No, I think I'll pass on this one. Thank you. I think that I've been amazed, obviously, that the change in fielding standards throughout all teams in the last generation of players. So for a long time, I did feel like the father of fielding. Now I feel a bit like the grandfather of fielding. So what you need now as a fielder is speed and agility, the ability to change direction, but not only that, having great peripheral vision, because you see, fielding in T20 cricket is all about defending the hot spots. So you've got specialists who spend the last 6 overs or 7 overs of a game particularly sort of patrolling the boundary, and guys like a Glenn Maxwell, he's not a young player anymore, but from an Australian point of view, Maxie just keeps doing crazy things on the boundary. So I think, you know, from a point of view of who stands out, Jadeja, I know he's retired from international cricket.
Clearly a good answer, John.
That's obviously very important to talk about an Indian fielder when I'm in India. I did study marketing in my Bachelor of Commerce, and I do live in Goa for 5 months of the year. My kids go to school in India, so yes, I also feel like it's a home player. But currently, you know, someone like a Glenn Phillips, someone who's got real speed across the ground, and then throws themselves, you know, into oblivion without fear of hurting their elbows. I'm always respectful, so I can't name 5 current players, sadly, but I just love the way that fielding has evolved in the modern game. I think it's such an important part of the modern cricket.
Brilliant, thank you, and thanks for that question as well. Sangha, coming back to you on this one, from Mahi Singh from the School of Humanities and Sciences. Mahi? Yep, she's just back there. Thanks, Mahi. Sangha, you played a key role, obviously, in Sri Lanka's 2014 T20 World Cup victory. How special was that moment for you, and how was the dressing room atmosphere around the squad back then?
Yeah, I mean, it was my 5th World Cup final, I think. Lost 4.
You said it this time, not us.
I've lost 4, 2012 in T20, and then 2011, 2009, 7. I can keep going. But, and it was tough because that was also my last T20 World Cup.
Yeah.
And I remember the day before the final, Mahela Javardhan and I were having dinner with our families. And we were sitting there thinking, oh, it's not bad. This is just last time we're going out to play. We've lost 4 already. Let's go out and give it a good go.
Yeah.
And when we did get across the line and against India, who were playing really well, I had an absolutely horrible tournament as a batter. I remember before the semi-finals, or before the qualifying round, at one point I actually went to the coach and said, I think you've got to make a change here because I'm not doing anything with the bat. And a couple of younger guys who were playing. I said, probably the right time to see if that gives us a push. Anyway, they kept picking me for some reason, and then I managed to be not out in that final and see Sri Lanka over the edge. I think it was again, you know, that feeling that Sachin described about winning a World Cup, whichever World Cup it is incredible. And it's almost like, you're signing off a monkey off the back in a way. And the dressing room atmosphere was incredible. And we stayed awake till, I think, 8:30 the next morning. We didn't go out. We didn't have a big party. It was just the team. A few family members who traveled all the way, a couple of really close friends of the team, and we were just in this big hotel suite or reception room, and we just had some music on, a lot of good conversation. A lot of alcohol was drunk that night. And it was a very, very, very special feeling. And going back was even better because when we got back to Sri Lanka, we have 22 million people instead of 1.4 at the time, 1.4 billion and more now. But there was a line of people from the airport all the way down to Goldface Green opposite the Tad Samudra, where all the players have stayed. And they lined the streets in the rain. That's over 35, 40 kilometers.
That's incredible.
Of just a line of people. So it was incredible to have brought the joy to the country after a very long wait since 1996.
That's incredible.
So did he say 4 out of 5 finals? Why do you guys call us South Africans chokers?
I didn't want to go there.
4 out of 5. Sangha.
Agreed, but I think there's a slight difference in semi-finals and
okay,
finals.
No. Well played.
Touche.
Well played, Sangha, well played. Shots have been fired, just so you know. They'll be on the field in a couple of days, but shots have been fired already. Good to see, good to see. Exactly. What a question for you from Urvi from the School of Physiotherapy. Urvi? Thanks, Urvi. Hi. From the School of Physiotherapy. What are the challenges that an all-rounder faces in an age of incessant cricket? Great question.
It's a very good question, especially coming from the Department of Physiotherapy as well. For me personally, I got to know every physiotherapist incredibly well throughout my career. Became very good friends. There's no question that being especially a fast bowling all-rounder was, for me, I just wanted to be the best cricketer that I possibly could be, which was being the best fast bowler I could be and the best batter. And knowing how challenging it is to be able to push the body to the limit that the fast bowlers do, but then also trying to manage getting your skill better from a batting perspective was physically a great challenge and a huge challenge. And you see with the more and more cricket that's continued to play, it just becomes more and more particular with your preparation, with how diligent you need to be able to tick every single box in your preparation, physical, technical and mental. And that's a thing that I struggled with finding that balance throughout my career because I was a huge overtrainer. I was obsessed with trying to be perfect in the lead up to a game, which is something very difficult to be able to chase, which meant that I was going into games fatigued. So now with the amount of crickets being played, yes, T20 cricket means that games are shorter, but they certainly is a lot more explosive. So you have to be at your very, very best. So the most important thing for all-rounders is just to be able to manage their preparation, but also their recovery and ticking every single box. Because even when you do that, there is a great chance that you will get injured, but continuing to be able to learn from it. And most importantly, get the best people around you as possible. Source out the best physios, the best nutritionists, the best people around to be able to give yourself the best understanding of how to get the best out of your body, to be able to try and be as physically resilient as you can, to be able to try and reduce the chances of being injured. But like anything, if you push your body to the limits to be the best you can, there are going to be times where you are injured, but it's then managing those to be able to not let it affect your performance over a long period of time.
Great, thank you. Thanks for that question. Very pertinent for you as well. Jonty, coming across to you from Ashish Jena. Ashish, lovely. Hi, Ashish. Ashish Jena from the Ram Rao Adek Institute of Technology. Jonty, you named your daughter India. You, of course, live in the south of Goa. You enjoy the short ride over to Mumbai. What fascinates you about this country, this wonderful country?
Thank you for the question. It is something that I get asked fairly regularly when I am in India. For my wife, obviously naming India was very spiritual. She's a yoga teacher, she follows Vedanta philosophy, and even in Cape Town in South Africa, India is very much a spiritual connect. But I think what I've really enjoyed about India is that remembering that I grew up in apartheid era South Africa. So apartheid era was a white minority regime that was governed by white people for white people only. So no diversity or inclusivity in South Africa at all. And I've certainly learned that my cricket career is over, but my life journey is still very much on the path. And what I have discovered is the more you learn about other people, the more you learn about yourself. So I'm still growing, and I'm one of the few guys that gets on an Enfield, I ride a motorbike, and I don't just see India from 30,000 feet or driving through on a team bus. I actually get to ride on the road and experience and see people and meet with people. And that's what I've loved about coming back to India every time, because I learn about myself by meeting people in India. And we always talk about the diversity across India. It's within each state.
Absolutely.
So from South Goa to North Goa, it's slightly different, you know, and I find that every single day. And it's a part of my growth. So hopefully I'm still learning. And every day that I live in India, I certainly learn valuable lesson every single day. So thank you.
Great question, thank you. Morgs, just going to come across to you for your final question here from the School of Hospitality and Tourism Studies, Soham Vaiti. Hi, Soham. In the 2015 World Cup, England, of course, didn't manage to qualify for the knockouts, but 4 years later, you went on to lift that trophy. What was the turning point, Owen, that changed everything?
Yeah, good question. I actually like what you're studying, School of Hospitality. Really, really nice. Food and wine, maybe? Excellent, excellent. So if we go back to 2015 World Cup, again, excellent World Cup for Kumar Sangakkara. It was like 400 or 500s, which was a record at the time.
Yeah.
Absolutely beat us up and down Wellington. But for England as a team back then, that was rock bottom. It was actually one of the worst times of my playing career. And like in any walk of life, whether it's sport, education, family, in order to try and find your biggest improvements sometimes and get you really listening, you never really address some of the major issues that are going on. And for England white ball cricket, that was a huge turning point. And that, I believe, was probably the cornerstone of the building block that built us all the way to 2019 victory at Lord's, albeit a little bit more controversial and dramatic than 2011. It certainly had to reach rock bottom before you could implement any types of changes. And for English cricket, that meant changes from personnel, coaches, selection, and a completely different change in mindset as to how we were going to play our game. English cricket has been built for 200 years on textbook technique, default being an easy answer. And you speak to the greats of the game, two of which are sitting to my right, and they talk about the power of the mind, batting for days, playing as a team. This is all strength of how to apply yourself and your mindset collectively in order to achieve a team goal. So right from that exit in Adelaide against Bangladesh in 2015 to the final in 2019, every day was about improving that mindset and trying to push the limits. And it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
It certainly took time in building trust and trying to rid that old attitude that had been around for a long period of time, but it was certainly worth it, definitely.
Lovely. Thanks. Thanks for that question. And clearly, if you're moving into food and wine, send Owen Morgan a mail. He's interested. Brian, back to you from the Department of Allied Health Science. Tarun, are you around? Tarun? Yeah, hi, Tarun. Lovely. You've been an inspiration to so many people. Who inspired you the most in your cricketing journey, Brian?
Who inspired me the most? I'm from a very big family, 7 boys and 4 girls, and I'm number 10. So I had to bat at number 10 in our cricket team, our family cricket team. And I believe that having 6 bigger brothers was a great inspiration. From very early, you know, I had my first cricket bat made of a coconut branch.
Yep.
And I had a dad that sort of lived vicariously through me. I know I had 6 bigger brothers. Maybe they weren't that good enough, but he spent a lot of time with me.
You made up for them, don't worry.
And I think my dad was my biggest inspiration because, you know, every time I had to go to cricket or anything I had to do with cricket, he was there for me. And I definitely sort of missed him because he missed my career, passed away just before I started playing for the West Indies. But he was definitely the man that I look up to and say thank you very much.
Lovely. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that as well. Wado, finally back to you as well before we close things off with a couple of questions. From Parv Upadhyay from the School of Biotech. Parv, yeah, hi. Hi, Parv. Wado, you've played a lot in India. Which memory of India is the most special to you? Does it have anything to do with the place that you're sitting at, the 2008 IPL final, of course?
Yeah, for sure. Driving into this facility brings back such incredible memories. 2008, the IPL, it was one of the most special times in my life. Yeah. For being in the situation where I was within the Australian setup that time, the injuries that I had in the previous sort of couple of years, to be able to then culminate in just the perfect storm coming together, with the IPL starting in 2008, with Shane Warne being the captain of the Rajasthan Royals, and the incredible backing that he always gave me from the first time that I met him, to be able to guide me and be a part of something that no one really knew, like what it was going to be, apart from bringing the world's best players together, playing in the same teams together, it was really just a celebration of world cricket. Yeah. For them to be able to actually be a part and get the opportunities that I did in 2008, and for that to culminate out at D.Y. Patel Stadium here against the Chennai Super Kings, to be able to get across the line was one of the very special moments. And for me now, it's even more special because the great late Shane Warne is no longer with us, and just knowing how big with all the incredible things that Shane Warne achieved throughout his phenomenal career, to know that the captain coach of the Rajasthan Royals was one of his career highlights just makes it even more special that I was a part of it. So I'm very, very grateful to be here. I've got so many incredible memories, and even one memory that sort of stands out was Ravinder Jadeja. He was a 17-year-old playing in that Rajasthan Royals in 2008, and he actually missed the bus to come to the ground. So he was in taxis trying to get to the ground. So as a 17-year-old, his watch wasn't working. But that's another great memory, and we've seen exactly what he's been able to go on and do throughout his career. So many incredible memories that really culminated here in DY Patel Stadium. So I'm super excited to be able to actually get out in the middle of a DY Patel Stadium again for this IML, because it just going to bring back so many very special memories that I have.
Going to see a few of those Shane Watson big bombs being hit as well. So, Otto, thanks for that great memory. Sangha, from the School of Medicine, Satvik Sriram. Satvik Sriram from the School of Medicine. Oh, hi. So, Sangha, the question to you, how do you spend your time post-retirement? Are there any projects that you're particularly passionate about?
For quite a while, I did mostly nothing post-retirement. I did a bit of commentary, retired from international cricket, played 3 years for Surrey.
Yep.
I had a great time there. And then I got a call from Manoj Badali, who Watto will know well, Rajasthan Royals, and then he asked me to be a part of the Royals for the IPL. So I spent 4 years learning how to coach. And then I found it incredibly interesting working with not just cricketers, but working with people and really trying to understand how people work and how they tick, because that's a large part of them doing well on the field. And I spend a lot of my time with my family. My children go to school in the UK now. Stuck a lot of the months in the cold there. But it's been a lot of fun. And it's also strange, since retirement from all cricket, I've never really looked at a cricketer playing in the sun or in the cold and thought, I want to be that person again. But this tournament has a special feel to it, because again, it's with people I've played with and against, and it's got kind of that special feel to it. So here I am back on the field, and I'm really excited for it. So retirement has been good, but like Jonty said as well, there's a lot more life to be lived, hopefully, and my plan is to try and live it well.
Absolutely, and I'm glad we brought you out of retirement with the IML, so look forward to it, Sangha. Sachin Paji, finally, back to you with this last question from Mohammad Abbas from the School of Public Health. Abbas, hi, perfect, lovely. Sachin Paji, you played, of course, in 6 World Cups before finally winning in 2011. Sangha, you can feel a little bit better now. Please take us through that World Cup. How did it feel to lift that trophy after the several attempts and after being there at the cusp?
Well, Abbas, I'll tell you one thing. In 2007 was possibly the worst phase of our Indian cricket team. And I almost retired at that stage. I didn't want to go on like that because the environment wasn't healthy in the dressing room. And when I got back, my brother told me that time, I still remember, my brother told me, can you imagine in 2011, Wankhede Stadium, and you're holding the World Cup in that stadium and doing a victory lap? And that kind of, changed my thought process. And after that massive disappointment in 2007, I started training for 2011. It was 4 years of total commitment and focus, only to be able to lift that trophy in 2011. And when I was actually doing that victory lap, I could actually think back also at the same time that in 2007, I almost retired. I wanted to move away from sport.
Crazy.
But that journey from 2007 to 2011 was also a special one, because we had one of the best coaches that I've worked with, Gary Kirsten. Along with him, Paddy Upton was also there. So every practice session was made interesting, exciting, and there was plenty to learn. Like all of us like to believe that we are all students of the game, and we would want to continue being students of the game, and that is the only way to move forward. We are always learning, and if you're open to it, you continue moving forward, and that is exactly what 2011 World Cup taught me, that That was the greatest moment of my cricketing career. But life goes on after retirement, and I'm enjoying just like the rest of the players are enjoying. I'm enjoying my retirement as well. But I can never forget that 2011 victory lap, icing on the cake for me.
All I'm going to say is we're glad you did not retire in 2007 and were on the shoulders of so many in 2011. Sachin Bhaji, thank you for sharing that. We've got 4 bats to give away. Can we get them across for 4 fabulous questions that we've handpicked as some of the best questions from the midst of them as well. So gentlemen, maybe you can stand up together. We'll get a picture with the recipients of these bats as well. The first question that we've picked was actually from Soham Vaiti. Soham? The question to Owen Morgan about what changed everything 4 years later. Where's Soham? Ah, there you go. Can we also get, where is Rajvardhan Hate? Rajavardhan Hate. Come on down. Tarun from the Department of Allied Health Science. And Janvi Chandrasekhar. Janvi Chandrasekhar. Ah, there she is. Yeah, lovely. Guys, come on, you can jump in. Please come get a picture. We can get you guys to jump in the center. Come on. Don't be shy. Go on, jump in the center. Go ahead. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you. You can take your seats again. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thank you. No, not you just yet. Not you just yet. Sure. And I think that brings us to a wonderful close. I think it's still an opening to what's more to come. I think we've got a request to get some, if we can get all of us in here, what have you got the longest arms, haven't you? We've got some pictures to take with each section of the crowd, if we can. Here we go. Yeah, we'll go this way, I guess. Whoa. Sure. Hang on. We'll get you some. We'll get you some. We'll get you some. Yeah. Hang on, guys. We'll come. I'm gonna give guys, quickly. Come. Let's go. Cause you're a sky full of stars. Cause you light up the path. I don't care, go on and tear me apart. I don't care if you do. Cause in the sky full of stars, I think I saw you. Cause you're a sky full of stars. I wanna die